They say every town hides a story, but Raven Hill hid something far darker. A curse that breathed beneath the trees. A legend that never died. Jacob Miller had driven across 3 states to get here. A forgotten dot on the map, surrounded by forests that looked black even in daylight. He wasn't looking for fame this time. He was chasing truth. The black dog of Raven Hill, he muttered, reading the old headline again. A beast that walks at night, a shadow that kills whoever sees it twice. He didn't believe in ghosts, not really. But this one, this story, felt different. The road leading into town was narrow, cracked, and swallowed by fog. The sun was sinking behind the hill, and for a moment, everything looked dipped in blood-orange light. Jacob slowed down as his car rolled past an old wooden sign. Welcome to Raven Hill, population 312. Someone had scratched the 2 into a 1. One less. Jacob blinked. Did he really hear that? Or was it just the wind slipping through the trees? He parked his car near the town's only diner, Earl's Place. The windows were fogged. Inside, a few locals sat silently, their eyes fixed on the stranger who had just arrived. Jacob sat at the counter. The waitress, a tired woman in her 40s, asked, "Coffee?" "Black, please." She poured it, but her hands trembled slightly. "You're not from around here," she said. "People who come here don't usually stay long." "I'm a writer," Jacob replied, "doing a story about the dog." The diner went silent. Even the jukebox stopped. The waitress leaned closer, her eyes, full of something between pity and fear, locked on his. "If you've got any sense, mister, you'll leave before dark." But Jacob didn't. That night, he booked a small room above the diner. The floorboards creaked. The wallpaper was old, peeling. From the window, he could see the forest, a thick, endless black. As he recorded his notes, something strange happened. He froze, pressed his ear to the window. Nothing, just wind. He clicked off the recorder and whispered to himself, "Maybe the legend's already watching." At the pound 2:17 a.m., Jacob woke up. The night was dead silent. No crickets, no wind, nothing. Then came the sound. It was coming from the door. Jacob grabbed his flashlight. His hands shook as he aimed it at the doorknob. Their scratching stopped. He waited. Nothing. Then, suddenly, door shakes once. Jacob jumped back, breathing fast. He forced himself to whisper, "Who's there?" Silence. He slowly reached for the handle, turned it halfway, and from the other side came a low, deep growl. To find out, froze. The flashlight flickered. Then, just for a second, he saw it through the crack under the door. 2 glowing red eyes. Jacob stumbled backward, his pulse pounding. He stared at the door. The eyes were gone. Only the faint smell of wet earth remained. He stayed awake until dawn. When morning came, he went downstairs, pale, shaking, and asked the waitress, "What's out there at night?" She didn't answer. She just looked at him and said, "You saw it, didn't you?" Jacob didn't reply. "You shouldn't have come here," she whispered. "Now, it'll follow you." And outside, beyond the diner window, in the fog by the tree line. Something black moved. Morning came to Raven Hill like a lie, bright on the surface but hollow underneath. Jacob hadn't slept. His mind replayed those red eyes, glowing like burning coals beneath the door. He packed his recorder, his camera, and walked into the forest. The same forest where, according to old stories, the black dog was first seen over 100 years ago. Jacob spoke into his recorder. Day 2. Locals refuse to talk. Something's wrong here. There's fear, a kind that sticks to the air. Last night I saw something. He stopped. The trees around him stood tall, twisted, almost human in shape. He turned. Nothing, just fog. He took a few more steps until he found something strange. A small wooden cross driven into the soil. The name carved into it was Eli Turner. Jacob whispered, "Another traveler." Behind him, a voice replied. He saw it twice. Jacob spun around. An old man stood near the trees, leaning on a walking stick. His eyes were pale gray, like smoke trapped behind glass. "Who are you?" Jacob asked. "Name's Howard. Lived here all my life," the man said slowly. "If you're smart, you'll burn that recorder and leave." "I can't. I'm here to find the truth." The old man sighed. "The truth," he chuckled darkly. "The truth buried this town." "It started in 1897, Howard said. "Back when this land belonged to a man named Silas Crow. He owned everything, the mill, the farms, even the people. When his workers rebelled, he killed them. And when their families cursed him, he laughed." The old man's voice dropped lower. "One night, a black dog appeared at his door. Huge, with red eyes and breath like smoke. The next morning, Silas Crow was found torn apart. Since then," Howard said, "the dog comes for anyone who disturbs this land, or speaks its name after dark." Jacob's recorder was still running. He didn't realize his hands were shaking until Howard whispered, "It heard you last night." Jacob's heart froze. "What?" "You spoke its name." The forest grew still. Even the birds stopped. Howard's eyes darted behind Jacob. "Run," he whispered. "Now!" Heavy footsteps, branches snapping. Jacob turned, and there it was, the black dog. A monstrous shadow, larger than any wolf, its fur soaked in mist. Its eyes glowed red, and its breath came in raspy growls that shook the air. Jacob stumbled back, firing his camera flash. Click, 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 each burst lighting a new nightmare. The creature didn't flinch. It only stared. And when Jacob blinked, it was gone. Then whispering voices overlapping. "It follows. It follows." Jacob ran. He ran until his lungs burned and his vision blurred. He didn't stop until he reached the edge of town. He burst into the diner, gasping for air. "It's real!" he yelled. "I saw it! The black dog!" The waitress dropped the coffee pot. Her face went pale. "You said its name again," she whispered. Jacob backed away. The diner lights flickered. The window behind him turned black, as if the night itself was pressing against the glass. And then, a shape moved. The waitress screamed. The lights went out. Jacob stumbled outside into the fog. He could hear the creature circling him, paws thudding softly on wet ground. He whispered into his recorder, voice trembling. "Final log. It's real. The stories were true. I don't think I'll make it out. If anyone finds this, don't say its name." Rain begins, slows. Distant howl echoes across forest. Jacob dropped the recorder. The tape kept rolling. A final sound was captured. Not a scream, not words, just heavy breathing. And the sound of paws walking away into the dark. Days later, police found Jacob's car, abandoned near the Raven Hill sign. Inside was his camera. Every photo was black, except one. It showed 2 red eyes standing right behind him.